What if everything you thought was boring actually blew your mind? What if a girl vanished for a decade and was found living in gaming cafes? Dolphins had names like humans, and a war-blinded man saw again thanks to a horse headbutt? This isn't fiction. These are real facts, but not like you've ever heard them before. Here comes the first one.
So many questions. Why is the world spinning? Why is the moon keeping its orbit? Can rockets fly backwards? The facts you didn't know you needed. The Useless Show.
In Europe, a company made a straw that's not just a straw. It's called Life Straw, and you can use it to drink dirty, yucky water and still be safe. No batteries, no magic potions, just sip, and it removes almost all germs. It even gives you clean water for a whole year. Here's something wild. One of the things you need to make dynamite is peanuts. Not peanut butter or anything, just the peanut itself. Something inside it helps create powerful explosions. So yeah, the little nut you eat might also help blast holes in mountains. Dubai once said, "Lose weight, get gold." They had a real contest called Your Child in Gold. Families that lost weight got real gold coins, like a treasure hunt, but with treadmills. It was a cool way to make people healthy and rich at the same time. Once a guy sold pet rocks, yes, just normal rocks in a box, and people went crazy for them. In just 6 months, he made millions of dollars. The rock didn't move or bark, but it became the coolest pet ever. Sometimes simple ideas win big. When you fall into deep sleep, your nose kind of goes to sleep too. Even the worst smells like burning socks or skunk spray won't wake you. That's why smoke alarms are so important, because your nose takes a break when you dream. A beer company owner once made a special beer bottle that could also be used like a brick to build houses. He thought people could drink and build at the same time. But it never became popular, so the only beer walls now are in a museum and his old house. There's a magical lake in Australia that glows in the dark. When tiny little creatures in the water get disturbed, they light up like stars. It's called bioluminescence, and it looks like the lake is filled with blue fairy dust whenever you splash it. In Texas, some scientists created something wild, a spray made of real skin cells. It's like magic mist that you spray on wounds to heal them faster. No bandages, just science and protein in a can that helps your skin grow back like a superhero's. Andre the Giant was a huge man, both in size and in heart. He passed away in a hotel room in Paris while there to attend his dad's funeral. It's kind of sad and strange, like life gave him one last goodbye with his family. There's a math proof so long, it could be a whole library. It took more than 100 super smart people over 30 years to finish. And when they did, it was 15,000 pages long. That's like reading 1,000 comic books just to say, yep, it works. There's a spider that doesn't live alone. It builds giant webs with tens of thousands of its buddies. They're called social spiders, and they build one huge web together like a city in the sky. When they get too crowded, they just move and start building a new one somewhere else. Apples actually come from a place called Kazakhstan, and wild ones there taste like roses, strawberries, popcorn, even candy. Almost all apples today can be traced back to just 2 old trees. It's like the entire apple family tree started with 2 magical grandparents. In a city called Rotterdam, they decided to make a floating forest, not on land, but on water. They took trees and put them on boats so they float across the harbor. It's like tree pirates sailing around, just chilling and being eco-friendly. And everyone says don't eat yellow snow, right? But scientists say even white snow is kind of dirty. Snow acts like a magnet and grabs nasty stuff from car fumes in the air. So yeah, snow might look like frosting, but your body won't thank you for eating it. Bhutan is the only country that doesn't just care about money or buildings. Instead of measuring how rich they are, they measure how happy their people feel. They call it gross national happiness. Imagine a country that's more about smiles than skyscrapers. In England, if your house gets sunlight through the windows for 20 years straight, the law says no one can block that light. You earn your right to sunshine. If someone tries to build in front of you, you can say, "Back off, the light is mine." Turns out ancient Greek statues were not boring white like we thought. They used to be painted in super bright colors. Time just faded their colors away, and now they look like they're made of plain stone. But back then, they were colorful like candy. Vikings get shown in movies wearing horned helmets, but that's totally made up. The only real Viking helmet ever found is just a smooth metal dome, no horns at all. So those horns you see? That's Hollywood's costume department, not history. Back in the old Soviet Union, a plane crash killed almost the entire hockey team. The manager, who was Joseph Stalin's son, didn't want his scary dad to know. So he secretly built a whole new team fast, and Stalin never noticed the difference. There's a tiny country called Liechtenstein that you can actually rent for a night. Yeah, the whole country. One time, Snoop Dogg wanted to rent it for a music video, but they said no because he didn't ask early enough. Even a whole nation needs notice. One day, Australia's prime minister went swimming and just vanished. Poof. No one ever saw him again. His name was Harold Holt, and it happened in the 1960s. Imagine a country losing its leader to the ocean like he just dove into a portal and never came back. Your coffee can predict the weather. If the bubbles in your cup float toward the center, a storm might be coming. If they hang around the edge, it's usually clear skies. It's like your morning coffee becomes a tiny fortune teller in a mug. Elephants are like giant emotional memory banks. They remember their family members, and when one dies, they mourn deeply, even years later. Some stand near the bones and gently touch them, like they're saying a soft goodbye. These creatures feel more than we ever imagined. A boy once got hit by a baseball bat and almost died, until a woman named Penny gave him CPR and saved his life. Years later, she started choking, and that same boy, now older, saved her life by doing the Heimlich. It's like the universe said, now it's your turn. There's a creature people believe lives in the Gobi Desert, and it's called the Mongolian deathworm. It's like a horror movie snake that can zap its prey with electric shocks from its eyes. Scientists aren't sure it's real, but locals swear it's no bedtime story. Once in Germany, a sleepy bank worker dozed off on the number 2 key and accidentally sent out over 200 million euros. The payment was supposed to be just 62. The wildest part? The person who missed the mistake got fired, not the guy who dozed off. Every single day, people upload around 350 million photos to Facebook. And in total, more than 250 billion photos have been posted there. That's like trying to look at every photo ever taken by everyone, everywhere, and never finishing. Before Johnny Depp became Captain Jack Sparrow, the role was offered to Jim Carrey, but he chose to play Bruce Almighty instead. Imagine a totally different Jack Sparrow. Less pirate swagger, more talking fast and making wild faces. That one choice changed movie history forever. Reindeer are cooler than you think. Literally. Their eyes change color with the seasons. In summer, they turn golden to handle all the sunshine. In winter, their eyes become deep blue to see in the Arctic darkness. It's like their eyeballs come with built-in sunglasses and night vision. During a war, a homesick soldier named Carl got injured and was stuck at an air base, so he put up a sign with his hometown's name on it. Others copied him, and now there's a forest full of signs from all over the world, like trees holding stories. Since the first time humans tested a nuclear bomb back in the 1940s, at least 8 countries have gone boom over 2,000 times. These tests weren't video games. They were real explosions tested across deserts and oceans. Earth has had quite a few loud science experiments. There's a way of raising babies where you don't use diapers at all. Parents just learn to watch for tiny signals like baby wiggles or faces and take them to pee or poop on time. It's called elimination communication, and yeah, it's kind of like potty telepathy. Jackrabbits are like the superheroes of hares. They're not regular rabbits, and they can run faster than most dogs and jump higher than your dad can throw a ball. These long-eared athletes zoom across deserts like 4-legged rockets with built-in springs. In a Chinese zoo, the people are the ones in cages, and the animals roam free. Visitors ride inside special cars while lions and tigers walk around outside. It flips the whole zoo idea upside down and reminds everyone, nature isn't here to perform for us. Sea lice sound tiny and boring, but the baby ones are terrifying. Before they're born, they chew their way out of their mom's insides. Imagine growing babies with jaws that say, okay, time to escape. And boom, she's split open from the inside. Nature doesn't always play nice. In 2016, a 63-year-old woman in Tasmania had her first baby. Yeah, first baby ever. She became the oldest new mom in Australia. Everyone else was retiring, and she was just getting started with diapers and lullabies. According to health reports, the average American man now weighs more than ever, almost 200 pounds. Women, too, are heavier than 20 years ago. It's like portion sizes got bigger, chairs got wider, and snacks became a daily celebration instead of a treat. There's a flower out there that smells like a zombie's armpit. It's called the corpse flower, and it only blooms once every 7 to 10 years. When it does, it fills the air with a stink so strong it makes people gag. Yet, weirdos still line up to sniff it. A Japanese scientist found that when people look at cute animals like puppies or baby pandas while working, they actually do better. Your brain focuses harder just from seeing those little fluffy faces. It's like your heart says, aw, and your brain says, let's go. A guy named Patrick built Hogwarts Castle out of 600,000 matchsticks. That's not even the craziest part. He also used nearly 60 liters of glue to stick it all together. That's like swimming in a pool of glue and still coming out with pure magic. Sugar gliders are tiny flying fluff balls, but they're also super emotional. If they don't get love, attention, or a friend to snuggle, they get so sad they can actually die. These little creatures are basically flying hearts with huge eyes and bigger feelings. Back in the Middle Ages, people thought farting into jars could save them from the plague. Yeah, they'd literally capture farts, seal the stink, then sniff it like perfume. Doctors believed the smell of human gas was stronger than the Black Death. Welcome to the weirdest medicine ever. The richest woman in Germany met her husband while working secretly at BMW using a fake name. He had no idea she was worth billions until she was sure he liked her for who she was. Only after that she dropped the truth. Talk about a billionaire love test. There are more insects on Earth than your brain can imagine. 10 quintillion of them. That's 10 with 18 zeros. For every one human, there are 200 million bugs. They're in the air, in the dirt, and maybe even watching you read this right now. In the early 90s, a bunch of yellow rubber ducks fell off a ship into the ocean, and they've been floating around the world ever since, washing up on beaches, helping scientists track ocean currents, and becoming the cutest accidental explorers in history. A group of researchers discovered something amazing. Teams made of people from different races solve problems better than teams where everyone looks the same. Different minds mean better ideas. It's proof that mixing cultures doesn't just feel good, it's smarter too. Clint Eastwood looked like a smoking badass in old movies, but in real life, he didn't smoke at all. He's actually super healthy, practiced meditation, and cared a lot about clean eating. The cigar was just an act. Behind the scenes, he was zen and sharp. In South Korea, kids under 17 can't play online games after midnight. Their IDs are tracked, and the game shuts off automatically. It's like your computer telling you, hey, go to bed. Whether they listen or not, that's another story. Once, billionaire Richard Branson flew a hot air balloon shaped like a UFO. Inside, it was a little person dressed like an alien. He landed in a field just to prank people on April Fool's Day. Imagine walking your dog and suddenly thinking aliens are here. The band Blink-182 made their company name so silly that lawyers had to say it with a straight face. They called it Pennywise Poo Poo Butt Incorporated. Imagine being a banker and having to ask, "Excuse me, are you from Poo Poo Butt?" When Daniel Craig ran off with Rachel Weisz, he kind of forgot to tell his fiancée. When she found out, she went full revenge mode and spent $1 million using his credit card. Talk about a breakup with a boom. She didn't cry, she just swiped. Back in old London, a man named Robert Hubbard was blamed for a massive fire. They said he tossed a firebomb into a bakery window. The twist? The bakery had no windows, he was too crippled to throw anything, and oh yeah, he wasn't even in the country. In China and Hong Kong, people jokingly called Jennifer Lopez something wild, Lord of Butt. It's not mean though, it's because of how insanely famous her backside is. To them, it's like royalty, and honestly, that title might be more powerful than Queen. Before he was a music superstar, Pharrell Williams worked at McDonald's. Actually 3 McDonald's. But he got fired from all of them for being lazy and stealing chicken nuggets. Imagine getting booted 3 times just for loving McNuggets more than minimum wage. Every December, a town in Peru has a wild tradition. People settle their beefs with full-on fistfights in the street. It's called takanakui. They punch it out, hug it out, then drink together. Imagine ending your grudge with a punch in a party. That's a real-world reset button. Doctors now use a checklist before surgery that asks stuff like, is this the right patient? And what are we even doing? It might sound simple, but this list cuts surgery deaths nearly in half. One small habit now saves tons of lives every day, like magic through common sense. A long time ago, the Great Pyramids weren't just dusty triangles. They were shiny, like mirrors. Workers polished every stone until it gleamed in the sunlight. The whole thing sparkled like a diamond in the desert. Imagine walking past a building that blinds you with its shine. In 2010, the toy company Mattel sold something totally invisible. It was Wonder Woman's invisible jet, and the box was literally empty. But it had weights to make it feel like something was inside. People actually bought air. That's how powerful imagination can be. One day, an actor asked the wild writer Hunter S. Thompson, "What's the sound of one hand clapping?" Hunter didn't say a word. He just smacked the guy in the head. Lesson learned. Don't ask a strange question to a stranger who owns guns and weird wisdom. Blind people often lose memories because they can't see them again like others do. But a company called Touchable Memories helps by turning old photos into 3D printed objects. So now, blind folks can feel their memories, like holding a hug that time forgot. There are a few places where the boss is more likely to be a woman than a man. In Jamaica, Colombia, and St. Lucia, girl power rules the office. It's not just a small thing. It's the normal thing. Those countries know who really gets stuff done. Crickets can actually tell you the temperature. Just count how many chirps they make in 25 seconds. Divide it by 3, then add 4. Boom, that's the temperature in Celsius. It's like nature gave these bugs tiny weather apps built into their legs. There's a secret rainbow that only shows up at night. It's called a moonbow. You need a full moon, dark sky, and just the right amount of rain. Then, like magic, a ghost rainbow appears in the night. It's rare, beautiful, and feels like a fairy tale came true. The longest solar eclipse of this century lasted a little over 6 minutes. That might not sound like much, but for those few moments the sky went dark in the daytime, and the whole world paused to stare. And no eclipse will beat it for more than 100 years. Most planets spin one way, but Venus and Uranus said nah and spin the opposite. It's like the whole solar system is dancing left, and those two are busting moves to the right. Just to be different, even in space, rebels exist. Pope Francis set a record just by joining Instagram. In half a day, he had over 1 million followers, more than anyone ever before. And his first post wasn't a selfie, it was a simple prayer with a caption asking everyone, in 9 languages, to pray for him. Before he was yelling in movies, Samuel L. Jackson was just standing still. Literally. He worked as Bill Cosby's camera stand-in. That means he stood in one spot while the camera guy focused. Quiet, still, no snakes on a plane. Just patience and lighting checks? Leonardo da Vinci didn't just paint stuff. He wrote all his private notes backwards. You had to use a mirror to read them. He wasn't hiding secrets from enemies, just writing in a way only he could quickly read. Oh, and he was dyslexic too. Brain-wired like a riddle. Long ago, students could pay off college with just a summer job. In the late 70s, it only took a few hundred hours a year to cover tuition. Now, students have to work 5 times more just to survive college. Back then, books and beer. Now, stress and debt. There's a chemical called Penguin 1. And yes, it's named that because its molecule shape looks like a little penguin waddling around. Science doesn't always have to be serious. It can be adorable and nerdy at the same time. The heaviest man ever weighed as much as a small truck. Over 600 kilograms. His name was John, and later he dropped nearly 400 kilos. That's the biggest weight loss ever recorded. His body was like a mountain, and then he climbed down from it. The guy who made the horror movie The Human Centipede got the idea from a dark joke. He said child predators should be punished by being stitched together. Somehow that joke became a film. Proof that not all thoughts belong outside your head. In South Africa, a baboon named Jack worked for the railway. Yes, an actual baboon. He pulled levers, signaled trains, and never made a mistake. Jack worked until he died and even got a paycheck. Monkeys can mess around, but this one had a career. Scientists now say we have more than 5 senses. There's one that tells you time is passing, and another that helps you feel Earth's magnetic field. So yeah, your body might secretly be a clock and a compass, too. You're more high-tech than you think. Back in the day, a company thought it could fix addiction with heroin. Seriously. In the late 1800s, they sold it as a cough syrup and a cure for morphine cravings. People didn't know better yet, but the result was, well, chaos. An engineer in Argentina built a machine to make it rain. And guess what? It worked. He made the skies pour water in several places. Then he vanished. Like, just disappeared. One day he's controlling clouds. Next day, gone. It's like he rained himself off the map. In 2012, shawarma got famous overnight thanks to the Avengers. After saving the world, the superheroes chilled at a shawarma joint. That 10-second scene made the food so popular that restaurants across America couldn't keep up. Iron Man sells sandwiches now. There's a tiny island near Colombia that's more packed than a music festival. It's called Santa Cruz del Islote, and it's smaller than a football field but holds thousands of people. There's barely space to breathe, but somehow it's a home full of life. A company started printing fake rhino horns that look and feel like real ones. Why? To flood the market in countries where they're used in traditional medicine. If prices drop and buyers can't tell the difference, poaching real rhinos might finally stop. Science is fighting back, cleverly. The movie Straight Outta Compton didn't play in Compton. Why? Because there are no movie theaters there. The film about their own story couldn't be seen by the people who lived it. That's like throwing a party but locking the host outside. In the UK, a guy got so sick of potholes never getting fixed, he started spray painting wieners on them. Yep. Giant glowing penises. Suddenly, the city rushed to cover them up. The guy became a legend and earned the nickname Wanksy. Sometimes you gotta be weird to get results. Off the coast of Iceland, there's a rock that looks exactly like a giant elephant. Not kinda elephant, full elephant. Big head, trunk dipping into the sea, the whole deal. It's not art. It's just nature saying, I can sculpt too. The rich bully Biff in Back to the Future, totally inspired by Donald Trump. Same gold obsession, same loud mouth, same smug face. The writers didn't even hide it. Trump became a time-traveling villain without even knowing it. There's a bookstore in Australia where you can't judge a book by its cover. Literally. Every book is wrapped in paper with just a few words to describe what's inside. So when you choose one, it's all about mystery, not flashy covers. Feels like a lucky dip for your brain. In Albania, things get real confusing. Nodding your head means no, and shaking your head means yes. Imagine trying to order food there and looking like you're having a full-on meltdown. It's like their heads speak a different language. Your taste buds live a short, exciting life. They last about a week or two, then get replaced like little flavor soldiers. Rats' taste buds can last just a few days or sometimes almost a month. So, yeah, your tongue is constantly under construction. Over a dozen honeymooning couples were on the Titanic when it sank. Not one of them survived. They boarded the ship dreaming of forever and ended up becoming part of a story no one ever forgets. Love met tragedy in the coldest waters. Dogs go nuts for anise, an herb that smells sweet and spicy. It's like catnip, but for dogs. In fact, the fake bunny used in greyhound races covered in anise scent. It makes dogs chase it like their life depends on it. Instant canine obsession. The hardest bone in your body isn't your skull, it's your jawbone. It's like the built-in armor of your face. It lets you chew, yell, and bite with power. So when you clench your jaw during an argument, just know. It's the strongest muscle in your head joining the fight. Believe it or not, licking a stamp burns calories. In the US, it's barely a sliver of 1 calorie. But in Britain, it's way more. Up to 14 calories if you lick a big commemorative stamp. So, if you're dieting, maybe stop licking Queen Elizabeth's face. Camels have not one, not two, but 3 eyelids. They've got a special thin one they can see through, like a windshield in a sandstorm. Blowing dust can't touch them. Their eyes are basically tanks in desert goggles. Quit smoking, and in just 2 days, your sense of taste and smell wake up like they've been on vacation. Food tastes richer. Smells get sharper. Your body basically says, "Thanks for not poisoning me today." Potatoes are almost a complete food. A man once ate nothing but potatoes for 60 days straight, baked, mashed, boiled, and stayed totally healthy. Proof that sometimes the most boring food is secretly a superhero in disguise. A goat farm in Virginia once posted online asking people to come snuggle baby goats. No surprise, the sign-up list filled instantly. Who wouldn't want to cuddle tiny fluffy goats for a living? It's like heaven with hooves. After Borat's wild movie made Kazakhstan famous for all the wrong reasons, something strange happened. Tourism exploded. The country actually thanked the actor. 10 times more people started visiting, proving that even satire can make your homeland trend. A woman moved into a nursing home and had to leave her cat behind. But 2 weeks later, the cat showed up at the exact place, even though she'd never been there before. She waited on a bench like, "Hey, I found you." Now they live there together. In Mumbai, artists are turning regular taxis into moving masterpieces. They redecorate the entire inside with bright colors, patterns, and stories. It's called the Taxi Fabric Project, and it turns your daily ride into a mobile art museum. In Italy, there's a tree growing on top of another tree. For real. It's a cherry tree sprouting out of a mulberry tree's trunk. No science experiment, just nature doing a double-decker surprise. They call it the double tree of Casorzo, and it's as cool as it sounds. Some people need barely any sleep and still feel awesome. They're called the sleepless elite. Their brains work fast, they stay sharp, and they get up early with energy to spare. While the rest of us hit snooze, they're already winning the day. A brain scientist scanned his own head as a test and discovered he had the same brain patterns as a psychopath. When he told his family, they weren't shocked at all. They just said, "That explains a lot." Imagine realizing your own brain is the villain in the story. Argentine ants don't just rule one place. They have a mega colony that spreads across continents. If one ant hopped on a plane to another country, the ants there would actually welcome it like family. It's the world's biggest friendship circle, made of ants. A study once tested rats on different music while sober and on cocaine. Guess what? Sober rats liked peace and quiet. But give them a little cocaine and suddenly they were all about jazz. So even rats have wild party personalities hidden inside. 2 scientists once raised a baby chimp alongside their real human son to see if the chimp would act more human. But after 9 months, it was the kid who started acting like a chimp. They had to stop before their son joined the jungle. In Japan, gun laws are so strict that even after a police officer died by suicide with a gun, he was still legally charged after death for breaking the law. That's how seriously they take rules. Not even death lets you off the hook. Ravens are genius-level birds. They hide food from each other using clever tricks. But the twist is, other ravens are just as smart. They'll secretly watch and then steal it later. It's like a battle of bird brains with sneaky minds and sharp beaks. Coffee isn't just a wake-up drink. It's a health booster. Studies say it helps fight cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and even improves how your body functions. So next time someone says too much coffee is bad, just sip and smile like a healthy wizard. John F. Kennedy's grandmother outlived him, but she was never told about his assassination. Her family wanted to protect her heart, so while the whole world mourned, she never knew the tragic truth. Sometimes silence is the only way to shield love. Looney Tunes weren't just made to make people laugh. Back in the early days, the company behind them used cartoons to sneakily promote their own music. Bugs Bunny and Friends were basically walking, talking jukebox ads with hilarious timing. When Gmail was first announced, it offered 1 gigabyte of storage. People thought it was a joke, especially since Hotmail gave you barely anything. But nope, it was real. A funny name, a wild offer, and boom! Google changed the email game forever. If you could drive a car straight up at normal speed, you'd reach space in just 1 hour. That's right. Outer space is basically a sky-high road trip away. Earth's ceiling isn't as far as you think. It's just a very vertical commute. Napoleon wanted a way for his soldiers to communicate silently at night. No light, no sound. So a special system of touch-based code was invented. That same idea later became Braille. So yeah, military missions helped blind people read. Niccolo Paganini was so good at playing the violin that people thought he made a deal with the devil. To prove he was human, he had to show letters from his mom. Imagine being so talented that people think you're possessed. During a Cold War meeting, the leaders of the US and the Soviet Union casually agreed, if aliens ever attack Earth, we hit pause on the fight and join forces. Enemies on Earth, but united against little green guys from space. There's a toxic lake in England that looked so pretty, people kept swimming in it despite danger signs. So they dyed the water black to make it look gross. Now, no one wants to take a dip. Safety by ugliness. Clever and weird. 70 meters underground, there's a hotel room inside a cave that's millions of years old. It's dark, cold, quiet, and kinda spooky. But if you like your sleep with ancient vibes, this is the most peaceful and creepy place on Earth. Silk was once China's biggest secret. For thousands of years, they didn't let anyone else know how to make it. If you even whispered the secret, you'd be sentenced to death. That's how much power one shiny thread held. A Japanese gymnast broke his knee during the Olympics, but didn't tell anyone. He kept flipping, jumping, and landing like a superhero in pain. His team won gold, and no one knew he was hurting until afterward. His toughness is the stuff of legend. In one town in Australia, everyone lives underground. Yup, houses, shops, even churches are inside old opal mines. It's cool, quiet, and sometimes they even find more opals while remodeling. Who needs sunlight when your home might contain treasure? An artist named Susan Beatrice turns old watch parts into tiny steampunk animals. She uses bits of broken time to create new life. It's like turning junk into art and forgotten gears into dragons, owls, and magic. When he was just 17, a kid named George unlocked the very first iPhone and traded it for a car. A real one, a Nissan sports car, and 3 more locked phones. Who needs money when you've got skills and Wi-Fi? In Japan, there's a sneaky pepper called the shishito. Only 1 in 10 is actually spicy, but you never know which one. It's like a chili pepper version of Russian roulette. Take a bite and pray your mouth doesn't catch fire. Some people daydream so much that it becomes a disorder. It's called maladaptive daydreaming, where the brain creates fantasy worlds to escape real-life pain. It's not laziness, it's the mind building castles to survive storms. More people have died taking selfies than from shark attacks. Yep, phones are more dangerous than fins. So, next time you lean over a cliff or stand on train tracks for a photo, just remember, Jaws isn't the real villain. Treadmills weren't made for fitness. They were actually invented to punish prisoners in Old England. People walked endlessly on them as a form of hard labor. Imagine thinking you're getting fit, but you're actually doing time. A doctor once tried to weigh the human soul. He put dying people on scales and claimed the moment they died, the weight dropped slightly. People still debate it, but the idea that the soul has mass? That's science meets mystery. The things you go through in life don't just affect your memory, they leave marks on your DNA. It's like writing stories inside your cells. So when something hits you hard, that impact might be passed down, like emotional fingerprints to your future family. A photographer named Champu Baritone made a project that exposed how fake Instagram can be. She showed what's just outside the fancy frame: messy rooms, boring scenes, and reality. It's a reminder that behind every perfect post might be a pile of laundry. Some organ transplant patients suddenly crave new foods or feel strange thoughts. It's called cellular memory. Scientists think the organs carry tiny bits of the donor's feelings. It's like your body keeps secrets, then shares them when it moves into someone new. There's a rare fish called the blue lingcod, and yes, its flesh is actually blue. But once you cook it, the color disappears like magic. It's like eating a fish made from ocean sky that turns normal on your plate. Nature's trick food. The first cloned mammal was a sheep named Dolly. Scientists made her from a single adult cell, and they named her after Dolly Parton, because the cell came from a mammary gland. Science with a sense of humor. Mosquitoes can smell the carbon dioxide from your breath from over 20 meters away. That's how they hunt you down at night. They don't see you, they sniff you. So, every breath is basically a dinner bell for these little vampires. A galactic year is how long it takes our solar system to go all the way around the Milky Way. That trip takes about 200 million Earth years. So, yeah, you're moving through space, but the road trip is longer than dinosaurs' entire history. The aorta is the biggest, thickest highway in your body. It's your main artery, and it's as wide as a garden hose. That giant pipe helps pump blood from your heart to every part of you, your very own high-pressure delivery system. There's a dog breed called the Basenji that can't bark. Instead, it makes a weird yodel squeal. It's like the dog wants to be a singer but forgot how to woof. It's small, square-shaped, and sounds like it came from another planet. The Japanese made a toy called Mugen Puti Puti that lets you pop pretend bubble wrap forever. It's a little plastic gadget with poppable buttons that never wear out. For anyone addicted to popping bubbles, this is your forever fix. Some Mexican shamans started using Coca-Cola in healing rituals. When Pepsi heard, they offered money to get shamans to switch brands. Yup, even in spiritual ceremonies, the soda wars were real. Keiko, the whale from Free Willy, got released into the wild after 2 decades in captivity. But guess what? He missed humans. He swam back to people, gave kids rides on his back, and looked for hugs. Real life had a happier ending than the movie. When it comes to job hunting, your resume isn't the golden ticket. Knowing someone at the company boosts your chances way more. It's not always what you know, it's who you know that gets your foot in the door. In China, a blind man and a man with no arms teamed up to plant 10,000 trees. One couldn't see, the other couldn't dig, but together they became unstoppable. They didn't wait for help, they became the help. In 2014, Scotland topped the charts. Not in music, but in cocaine use. According to World Reports, they were using more than any other country. The land of bagpipes had another darker rhythm going. On his deathbed, the French philosopher Voltaire was asked if he'd renounce Satan. He smirked and said, "Now is not the time to be making new enemies." Yep, even dying, he dropped one last mic. The clown in American Horror Story was so terrifying that even the crew got scared. Some people had nightmares, and others literally walked off set. That's when you know your acting is too good. H.G. Wells, the father of science fiction, spent his last breath telling people, "Go away, I'm all right." Like, bro, what a way to leave. Calm, sharp, and done with the drama. Studies in the UK found that short women who sit close to the wheel are most likely to be hurt by airbags. Turns out sometimes being small and safe-looking actually puts you in the danger zone. McDonald's in Hong Kong offers weddings. For just over $1,000, you get food, drinks, decorations, and 50 guests chowing down on apple pie, love, fries, and a budget-friendly ring. A report once found that more than half of pilots admitted to falling asleep mid-flight. Even crazier, almost a third said they woke up to find their co-pilot asleep too. So yeah, autopilot is doing more than just cruising. A German company made an elevator that doesn't need ropes. It uses magnets to move, and it can even go sideways. It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets engineering. Elevators that zip around like trains. Professors found that people who spend less money on their weddings and rings are less likely to get divorced. Turns out, happily ever after doesn't need diamonds. It just needs people who don't empty their wallets to say, "I do." Only one fish on Earth is warm-blooded. It's called the opa, and it looks like a big, shiny coin. While all other fish feel the cold, this one swims around like it's wearing an invisible heater suit. Pixar took 3 years just to get Merida's curly hair right in Brave. They didn't just draw curls. They studied the physics of how each strand moved. That fiery red mess of waves took more science than some rockets. If you ever see a dolphin washed up on the beach, don't rush to push it back. Sometimes dolphins beach themselves on purpose because they're sick or hurt. It's their way of saying, "I need rest, not water." Helping might actually make things worse. Way back in Germany, a pigeon owner and a beekeeper decided to race their animals over 5 kilometers. They wanted to know who was faster. Shockingly, the bee won by a few seconds. So yeah, tiny wings beat feathers that day. During wartime, when the Confederate Army ran out of gunpowder, they raided bat caves. Not for bats, but for poop. Bat poop has a chemical that helps make explosions. So yeah, in that war, even poop had a part to play. Pablo Escobar once built his own prison. It had a soccer field, a jacuzzi, a bar, and even a waterfall. He called it La Catedral. He lived there like a king until he got bored and walked out. Jail? More like jungle resort. Wild chimpanzees don't just swing and scream. They actually look both ways before crossing the road. A museum study showed that more than half of them even run to be safe. These apes are basically jungle traffic experts. Somewhere out in space is a star made of diamond. It's huge and shines like a jewel. And scientists named it Lucy. Yes, after the Beatles song. It's 10 trillion billion carats. That's not just a rock, it's the biggest bling in the universe. In 2013, a dog named Killian started growling whenever the babysitter showed up. He stood between her and the baby like a little bodyguard. The parents set up a camera and caught her being abusive. The dog didn't bark. He spoke loud with loyalty. In one magical spot in Panama, you can actually watch the sun rise on the Pacific Ocean and set on the Atlantic. It's the only place where the sun plays both sides, saying hello and goodbye from opposite oceans. A kid named Frank accidentally invented the popsicle. He left some sugary soda outside with a stick in it overnight. In the morning, it was frozen. He called it the Epsicle, but people renamed it Popsicle, and the name stuck harder than the stick. There's a real fear called allodoxophobia. It means you're terrified of other people's opinions. For people with this phobia, even simple feedback can feel like a personal attack. Their brain shouts danger at every "I think," someone says. When a bunch of flamingos get together, they aren't called a flock. They're called a flamboyance. That's right, they even sound fabulous in groups. Bright, pink, and dramatic, like a fashion show with feathers. One guy had the hiccups for nearly 70 years. Charles Osborne hiccuped over 40 times a minute, and no one could fix it. Then one day, they just stopped. No warning, no cure, just poof. Silence after a lifetime of hiccup beats. A hospital in New York turned their scary CT scan room into a pirate adventure. Kids walk the plank and lie on a boat to get scanned. It's less beep boop and more ahoy matey. That's how you mix medicine with magic. A man named Stephen escaped from prison 4 times, like it was a game. Once he walked out. Another time he pretended to be a judge, then a doctor. Then he faked his own death. But eventually the law said, "Nice try," and gave him over a century behind bars. Dave Grohl once landed in the hospital not from drugs, but from drinking too much coffee. He was recording an album and chugging cup after cup until his heart said, "Chill." Turns out even rock stars can overdose on espresso. Researchers found that trusting people doesn't make you dumb. It actually makes you better at spotting lies. The more you believe in good, the faster you notice bad. Kindness can sharpen your instincts more than suspicion ever could. One Japanese soldier stayed on duty for 30 years after World War II ended. He lived on a jungle island, still wearing his uniform, waiting. His old commander had to personally travel there to tell him, "Hey, the war's over." In the 70s, scientists found a family in Siberia who had lived alone in the wilderness since the 1930s. No TV, no radio, no other people. Just them, trees, and survival. It was like discovering humans hidden in time. Pumbaa, the funny warthog from The Lion King, made history by being the first Disney character to fart on screen. Before him, Disney kept it classy, but Pumbaa broke the gas ceiling with pride and grunts. Purple used to be the color of kings. It came from sea snails, and making even a tiny amount required thousands of them. Only royals could afford it, so wearing purple wasn't just stylish, it was like shouting, "I'm richer than all of you." If you drop an ant from any height, even a tall building, it won't get hurt. They're so light, gravity doesn't bother them. They just float gently to the ground like little bug parachutes. The Concorde jet flew faster than sound. It could take people from London to New York in just 3 hours. That's half the time of normal planes. It was like riding thunder with wings before it retired in the early 2000s. On the set of Apocalypse Now, things got real, literally. The props team used real dead bodies instead of fake ones. They didn't even know until the smell got too strong to ignore. That's when they realized the horror had crossed the line. There's a conference that's all about boring things. People give talks about barcodes, sneezes, even vending machine sounds. It's called The Boring Conference. And it's weirdly popular, because even boring stuff can be oddly fascinating when you dig deep enough. Scientists discovered that your brain, the internet, and even the entire universe all grow in the same weird, webby way. Like, no joke. They share the same patterns. Tiny nodes, giant webs, constant expansion. It's like everything is connected by invisible spaghetti. In Norway, if you drive an electric car, you get free parking, free charging, and even access to the bus lane. So many people jumped on it that the government had to dial the perks back. Saving the planet became the new traffic jam. The guy who invented shopping carts had to hire models to pretend they liked using them. People were weirded out at first, but once they saw stylish folks rolling carts around the store, they thought, "Hey, maybe I should push one too." The first 3D movie ever was called The Power of Love and premiered in the early 1920s. Sadly, the 3D version disappeared, and the regular version was later renamed. It's like a movie that peeked into the future, then vanished into history. Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh was real, and he didn't like the books. The stories were based on his childhood, and he felt like his dad used his life to make money. Imagine growing up as a character you didn't ask to be. After a tsunami, a baby hippo got separated from his mom and found a giant tortoise. Thinking it was a fellow hippo, he followed it around, and they became best friends, a tiny mammal and an ancient reptile. Nature's odd couple. In 2005, an artist painted Facebook's first office and got paid in shares instead of money. That guy is now worth over $200 million. His brushstrokes became gold. Literally. There's a bird with a sword for a nose. It's called the sword-billed hummingbird, and its beak is longer than its entire body. It looks like someone glued a fencing sword to a bird's face and gave it wings. A high schooler named Hayden saved up for over a year, worked multiple jobs, and bought a flower for every girl in his school, over 800 of them, just so they'd all feel special. Real-life kindness level, superhero. Watching your favorite movie again and again isn't lazy. It's therapy. Knowing how it ends gives your brain comfort and control in a world that feels wild. It's like emotional popcorn with a hug inside. After Finding Nemo came out, everyone wanted a clownfish in their home tank. The demand for those little orange fish tripled, and that led to overfishing, hurting wild populations. A movie about saving fish ended up putting more of them in danger. Even Al-Qaeda once said that ISIS was too extreme. When terrorists say, "Whoa, that's too much," you know something has gone completely off the rails. A guy named Seth once wrote a song saying comas were stupid. Then he actually went into a coma. When he woke up, someone asked him what it felt like. He said, "It was just as stupid as I wrote it was." Mona Lisa wasn't always a superstar painting. She became world famous only after being stolen in the early 1900s. The theft made headlines, and when she was found, the world couldn't stop staring. So basically, she got famous for going missing. Hyenas don't really laugh, they giggle. That's what scientists call the sound they make. It's loud, creepy, and can travel super far. When you hear that sound echoing across the savannah, it's not a joke. It's wild communication. Your bones are tougher than you think. Just a tiny cube of human bone can hold the weight of 5 pickup trucks. That's stronger than concrete. So yeah, under all that skin, you're part superhero. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Ken's is Ken Carson. Their creator named Barbie after her own daughter. So even plastic dolls have full names and family roots. High up on an Australian mountain live giant pink slugs. Yes, real pink slugs like gooey bubblegum with eyes. Some grow almost as long as your forearm. They're slimy, weird, and weirdly adorable. On D-Day, fake soldiers were dropped to confuse the enemy. These dummy paratroopers were called Ruperts, and they had sound effects and self-destruct features. They were like inflatable secret agents made of canvas and trickery. Believe it or not, penguins and chimps sometimes trade favors for food or nesting materials. Scientists have seen it, exchanging stones or treats for attention or, well, mating time. Nature invented a strange economy long before humans did. Ed, leaving no trace. This wasn't in a spy movie, it was a real tool created by agents, revealed years later during a government meeting. A guy in China had both his current and ex-girlfriend jump into a river just to see who he would rescue. He only saved the one he was dating. The other swam back out alone. Sometimes love gets ridiculous, and sometimes it turns into a swimming contest no one wins. When a tiny grain of sand sneaks inside an oyster, it hurts. So the oyster covers it in smooth layers like wrapping a blanket around a splinter. Over time, that coating becomes a pearl. Something painful slowly transforms into something beautiful, all thanks to a sea creature's clever survival trick. Long ago, squirrels weren't city animals. People in America wanted to make parks more exciting, so they brought squirrels in for fun. Before that, these little guys lived mostly in forests. Now, thanks to that experiment, they're part of almost every urban park across the country. Believe it or not, the milk of a hippo isn't white. It's pink. Nature didn't go with the usual color. This special shade comes from chemicals in their body that mix with the milk. It's like bubblegum-colored nutrition, straight from the wildest animals on the riverbanks. Cold weather might make you shiver, but your fingernails actually grow faster when you're chilly. Scientists think it has something to do with blood flow or energy use. Either way, your body responds to the cold by speeding up nail growth, even while your teeth are chattering. Snails can sleep longer than most animals can live. Some naps last for years. When the weather's not right or conditions get rough, they simply shut down. While the world keeps spinning, they rest quietly, waiting for the perfect time to come back out. Crocodiles are scary fast on land, but they're not very good at turning. If one ever chases you, don't run in a straight line. Zigzag. That weird little movement confuses them and helps you escape. It's not just a trick, it actually works in real life. Vending machines seem harmless, but more people have died trying to shake snacks out of them than from shark attacks. They're heavy, they tip over, and they crush. That chocolate bar might cost your life if you get too aggressive trying to make it fall. In the ocean, dolphins use names. They create unique whistles for each other, and those sounds stick for life. It's their way of saying, "Hey, that's me." Like humans calling each other by name, dolphins swim through life with personal sounds that help them stay connected. A grenade that explodes underwater is more dangerous than one on land. That's because water doesn't give the shockwave space to escape. Instead, the force slams straight into anything nearby. So, even though it's underwater, the damage is even worse than you'd expect. If a crocodile bites you, there's one place you can press that will make it let go: its eyes. As terrifying as it sounds, pushing your thumbs into a crocodile's eyes can free you. It's the one spot their power can't protect, and they hate being touched there. The voice behind Bugs Bunny had a strange problem. He was allergic to carrots. Every time he chomped on one for a recording, he had to spit it out immediately. Even though his character loved carrots, the actor himself couldn't stand more than a bite. Because the Earth spins, objects thrown west actually go farther than those thrown east. The spin gives westward throws a secret boost. It's like tossing a ball while the ground beneath you is quietly moving in your favor. Space physics playing on your team. Most of the food we eat today comes from farmers who lived high in the Andes Mountains. Things like potatoes, peanuts, beans, and strawberries were all discovered or cultivated there. Those ancient farmers shaped the entire world's diet without ever knowing it. Right-handed people tend to live longer than left-handed ones. It might be because tools and machines are designed for the majority, or maybe it's just weird luck. But year after year, the numbers say that being right-handed gives you a better shot at old age. If you start spelling out numbers with words, you won't find the letter A until you hit 1,000. That's a lot of counting without the most common vowel. It hides in the background, letting other letters do the early work while it waits its turn. Vodka is so important to one country that it provides a huge chunk of government income. It's not just a drink, it's a source of cash. Bottles get poured, glasses get raised, and somewhere behind the scenes, national budgets get balanced. Back in old times, if a clan wanted someone gone but didn't want to kill them, they'd burn down that person's house. That's where the term "got fired" came from. It wasn't about jobs. It was about setting flames to someone's home and forcing them out. People often say humans only use a tiny part of their brains, just a sliver of what's really there. While it's not exactly true in a scientific sense, it's a reminder that the brain holds more power, creativity, and potential than most of us will ever actually tap into. A single bag of potato chips can cost hundreds of times more than the potatoes inside it. That crunch, that salt, that fancy logo, it all adds up. Somewhere along the way, simple farm food became a gold-plated snack. Marketing, packaging, and convenience turned cheap roots into pricey temptation. If someone loses sight in one eye, they don't lose half their vision. They only lose a small slice, but depth disappears. No more judging how close something is, no more catching easily. The world stays mostly visible, but suddenly flat, like watching life on a television screen. Celery is like a fitness test disguised as food. It has so few calories that your body actually burns more energy chewing and digesting it than it gains. Eating it is like doing a tiny workout with your jaw. It's not just crunchy, it's practically negative fuel. Kids laugh way more than adults. Hundreds of giggles burst out of them every day, while grown-ups average barely a dozen. That laughter helps children stay curious, optimistic, and creative. Somewhere along the way, adults lose that spark, but maybe laughing more is the secret of bringing it back. So that's it for today. Hope you liked watching this video. But don't stop now. Before you go, hit that next video, because if these facts blew your mind, the next one might just blow your body.